G'day team, it is time for a very belated June indie releases of 2026. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Chris and today's video is going to be the June indie releases of 2026. I know we're a little bit late with this one, we're going to be late with July as well, but then we should be back on track for the rest of the months, just with travel and whatnot. But we have a smorgasbord to get through today, so we're going to jump into it. Just as a quick reminder, these lists do not come from me, they come from Rob J. Hayes over on his blog, AJ Calvin over on her blog, and RJ Lavender over on Instagram, all of which, so the blogs and RJ Lavender, all accept submissions for indie releases that are coming out in any given month. So you can go ahead and get in contact with them, put your books on the list, and then I will give it a video platform each and every month. All three of them will be listed down below, so you can go ahead and check them out. So without any further ado, what did we have coming out in June this year? The first one we had was Tides of Blood and War. This is A Time of Dragons, book number 4 by Philip C. Quintrell. This is epic fantasy, and it's a book 4, and I don't know how much of that is a spoiler straight up, but we do have a fun green cover, which we're starting off strong with a green cover. You know, that's my favorite color by now. And this is an author that I've been meaning to read for ages. I think I have the first series in its entire form on my Kindle, but I just haven't got around to it. So if you're a Philip C. Quintrell fan, you might have already read this one. If not, book 4 has just been released. On the 1st of June, we also had Death Show Colossus by Bill Adams, and I've heard really good things about this one. It says 20 climbers, 20 watchers, 5 hunters, 1 Colossus. After both their parents died during the live broadcast of the Tournament of the Colossus, Quinn promises to always keep Ben safe, even from the deadly hunters who scour the slums for those who can wield magic. But when Ben's rare ability manifests during a public confrontation, the hunters see them for what they truly are, riveting contestants. Quinn will be a climber where she'll be chased by hunters and mechanized monstrosities through a trapped forest before attempting to climb a 1,000-foot tall destructive god, and Ben will be her watcher, as his consciousness will be transferred into nothing more than a glorified camera in the form of a metal bird. The odds of survival are low, the likelihood of death and blood great. Tune in today, for this tournament will be a ratings juggernaut. This one sounds amazing, and I can't wait to get to it. Also on the 1st of June, we had The Weaver's Loom. This is The Last Death Witch, book number 1 by Jesse St. John. It says, Edith Ashton is the last of her kind, but the world thinks she's dead. 1893 London, witches live uneasily alongside humans after a treaty that stripped them of their immortality in exchange for living out in the open. In that aftermath, death witches were hunted down and eradicated, all but one. Edith lives in plain sight as an investigator with the First Council, solving murders with her magic. She can see a victim's last moments of life. It is a convenient gift, an inconspicuous one, and it keeps her true power a secret. But when a witch's death exposes the disappearance of 5 more, she's forced into a case that rips into her past. The trial leads to the Sparrows, a long-dormant order that wiped out every death witch in England, including Edith's family. As the full moon draws near, more witches vanish. When a witch she has sworn to protect is abducted, she won't stay hidden any longer. To stop them, Edith will have to unmask a magic she has spent decades burying, and once the Sparrows know that a death witch still lives, they will finish what they started. That sounds really fun, and I don't think book 2 is all that far away. So that said the 1st of June, and book 2 is coming out in August, so if that one sounds good to you, it looks like it's pretty quick succession that those are coming out. On the 2nd of June, we have Partum by Emma Burnett. This is near future dystopian and the sci-fi sphere. New mother, Panya, lives in the perfectly controlled environment of blocks 6 to 8, where all amenities are on site and goods are delivered by drone. Little Libba is perfect. Their residence is fully enclosed. Her world is regulated, sterilized, and safe. Not that she'd tell anyone, but most of the time, Penya feels stretched to her limits, isolated, failing to meet expectations, struggling to do the best she can. This is what she has to do to remain in this optimized community. It's the way she's told to take care of her child. But Liba is struggling. She's refusing to switch to eating Nutribulbs like everyone in their community, and people are starting to ask questions. Her partner, the doctors, the authorities. Besieged by norms and expectations, what choice does Pena have? The consequences could break her world. That sounds pretty cool. We also had Troubled Bodies by Jake Vanguard on the 2nd of June. This is horror romance, which is a really interesting genre mix. And what I've read of horror romance, I have quite liked. We can be monsters together. Curiosity has led Pain down a path of experimentation filled with corpses, connections to the underground, and a dead partner. Interesting. When he finds Blaze broken and lifeless on a crime cleanup scene, Payne's knowledge of anatomy and his created serums assist in bringing Blaze back to life. The only hitch in his plan, they come back different. Together, Payne and Blaze must navigate their new life, filled with a ravaging hunger for fresh meat and opioids, while keeping their urges secret from a powerful Don. And things get even more complicated when they find themselves entangled with a third, unexpected person who has more to give than financial freedom. Care to take a bite? Interesting. Also, on the 2nd of June, we had Assassin in the Alehouse. This is by Z.S. Demanti. And this, I think, is the third installment of Fables of Finlestia. Sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. So I don't know whether these are standalones but all in the same series, or whether they have like cross characters or whatnot. I don't want to give spoilers away, so I won't read out the full blurb, but it says, from cloaks and daggers to mugs and flagons. Embark on a cozy fantasy tale of found family and quiet mysteries. A quaint quest to find the place that feels like home and the ones who make it so. A journey filled with self-discovery and new romance. I think ZS, I try to say Z because Australia, Z.S. Demanti writes very accessible and I believe clean fantasy as well that is can be read by any age. On the 3rd of June, we have Shadowvein by Cal Logan. This is the Schism of Souls book number 2, and it is epic grimdark fantasy. From the ashes of the old, the Shin Kami will rise. Another author I've been meaning to check out as well. So if anyone's read the first book of the series, let me know if you think I will like it, because I'm curious. We also have The Grace of War by Crim Cat, which is Blind Chaos book number 3, coming out on the 3rd of June, or has come out on the 3rd of June. I quite like this cover, and I'm very intrigued by the premise here, but it is a book 3, so I can't read too much into it. And the first line just says, War meet Renthia. That sounds ominous and cool. We also had Nemesis. Now, I believe this had released on ebook earlier, but released on paperback on the 3rd of June. And this is Nemesis by Harper Black. It is a paralyzing psychological thriller of dark secrets, delusion, and revenge with a mind-bending twist after twist. Amara never fit inside the life her mother had built, one dripping in wealth, secrets, and pills she's forced to swallow for her own good. Her mother, Paige, has spent years trying to silence the voice haunting Amara's mind, but the voice hasn't faded, it's only gotten louder, and it wants to tell a story. A chilling message leads Amara to a photo tied to a past Paige refuses to acknowledge. Paige is in the picture, so are 4 strangers. 5 faces, 6 Greek names scrawled on the back. One is Sophia, the voice in Amara's head. The other is Nemesis, the god of revenge. As Sophia's story pushes Amara down the trail Paige tried to bury, the past starts to bleed through the present, a betrayal that never died and a reckoning decades in the making. Amara digs deeper, Paige's perfect world crumbles, secrets claw their way to the surface, and Sophia insists she knows exactly what happened back then, and what must happen next. But as old sins breathe new life, one terrifying question stalks Amara's every move. Is she uncovering a legacy of revenge, or is she losing herself to a darkness that only exists in her mind? Interesting. On the 5th of June, we have Goddess of the Dark by Emilio Cozzi. I apologize, that's probably an awful pronunciation that I've given you there. Forest of the Morning, book number 3, and this is epic fantasy. Got purple and like gold cover, which is a color scheme that I quite enjoy. And I can't read too much out of this one because it does look a little bit spoilery within that first few sentences. So, epic fantasy, here is the cover, and it was available on June the 5th. We also had Heir of Gods and Talons on June 5th. This is by Rose Caruso, and it says, 10 years ago, Genevieve's sister vanished without a trace. Now her mother is dead, and Genevieve is hearing a voice in her head. Returning to her hometown was supposed to give her closure. Instead, it drags her into a hidden world of magic, hunted creatures, and a rebellion she never asked to join. Now Genevieve is caught in a conflict she barely understands, stalked by enemies who seem to know more about her and her family than she does, and an irritatingly charming Fae male watching her every move. As secrets unravel and betrayal closes in, Genevieve must decide who she can trust, since every ally, every enemy, every stranger she meets seems to hold a fragment of the truth. And piecing it together might destroy everything she thought she knew about herself. We have Dark Romancy Godbound, which came out on June the 6th. This is by Masha, apologies, Sova. And it says, the Scarlet Letter meets the divine, deadly trials of the games gods play. In a kingdom where a forgotten goddess's curse has become the law, where purity is power and desire is a death sentence, Raylene has lived her life playing the perfect girl, obedient, untouched, and destined for the crown. Also, she might one day reshape a realm that damns cursed women like her mother, women who dared to fall in love, until one kiss ruins everything. Branded impure and cursed with rot magic that spreads by touch, Raylene is cast into the Trial of the Bound, a brutal arena where champions fight to the death, gods revel in blood, and power feeds on the prayers of the crowd. Her only hope is survival, swear fealty to the very goddess who cursed her. In return, the goddess tears a shadow beast from another world and binds him to Raylene's side. Raylene, feral, unwilling, and the only one who can help tame her power threatening to consume her. He doesn't want her, doesn't trust her, but their fates are entwined, and every step towards mastery binds them together. As her power grows, their bond deepens, Raylene must make an impossible choice: win the trial, free the cursed, and unleash a forgotten goddess bent on reclaiming the world, or lose everything to save those who now pray for her death. One path leads to love, the other to mercy. Both end in ruin. Color me intrigued. On the 9th of June, we had Abandoned Bonds. This is the Lilith Academy book number 2, and it's got quite a nice cover here. I like the color scheme that we have happening here. It says, being watched when you have everything to lose is excruciating. Fun tagline there. We also had From the Depths of Mountain and Seas by Emily Rank Hawthorne. This is of Mountain and Sea, sorry, book number 2, and it's urban fantasy. Really, really like this cover. In the wake of a failed coup, peace comes at a cost. Also on the 11th of June, we had another book 2, A Flame Among the Seas. This one is by Amelia J, and it says, A Kingdom Risen, a Goddess Reborn, a World Burning Red. And this is a nice cover as well. I've had a few nice covers so far. You know I'm a cover guy. We all are. Don't lie to me. You've bought a book by its cover before. I certainly have. On the 12th of June, we have Legacy of Flame. This is Dynasty of Fire, book number 2 by Mallory Moss. This is Vengeance always comes with a cost, and doesn't it what? Oh, I did miss one on the 11th of June, apologies. We also had A Dragon, a Gargoyle, and a Faery Live by the Sword. This is by Lisa Barry and Nicole Dragonbeck. Cool last name. Dragonbeck, amazing. And this is Dragon and Gargoyles, book number 5, and it looks like this. And then we've got some Steins up in the corner, which is a bit of fun. So I did miss that one. I apologize, on June 11th. Coming back to June 12th, we have No Dream Like Forever by Nora Shear, and this was fantasy, or is fantasy, and horror, and a subgenre of paranormal romance. It says, when Vianna Sefri pulls off a complicated party for her company, she didn't expect to get a promotion that has her running part of a partnership. She also didn't expect the other company to pair her with Corey Griffin. With his distracting leading man looks, it doesn't help that he's surprisingly kind and surprisingly interested in her, which is a problem since Vianna has sworn off romance. Corey didn't think he could fall in love again. It's been over a century since he felt something like this, but his clan has done terrible things to humans and to him, and he needs to protect Vianna from them. If the dynamics between him and his colleagues didn't make that almost impossible. Between Corey's interest in navigating the tense and strange dynamics of the two companies, Vianna finds herself uncovering more and more disturbing aspects of her colleagues, including Corey. We also had Professorium by K.A. Wood on the 12th of June, which is science fiction and fantasy with the subgenre of historical mystery. Now, this is the Renaissance Paradox book number 2. In the undocumented bowels of America's greatest icons, a 400-year-old secret is waking up. Interesting. On the 15th of June, we had Makerborn. This is the Maladies of Empire, book number 1 by Damon Ashcord, and this is a very cool cover, and it's epic grimdark. The God War is over. An empire built on suffering, slavery, and betrayal remains. In the fractured lands of the Slavian Empire, the great houses rule through blood and fear. For years, Alandra Fianica has hunted powerful sonomancers in the Empire's name, paid in empty promises that her stolen daughter would be returned. Each step forward demands another compromise, another betrayal, another piece of herself lost. When those promises turn to treachery, she is forced to take matters into her own hands and risk everything to reclaim her child. In the Empire's mining camps, Bez Winstrata has endured years of torture and brutal experimentation. Broken but unyielding, he clings to one purpose: vengeance. The men who murdered his parents will pay, and their deaths will complete the ritual needed to free his parents' souls from damnation. But the deeper his grief cuts, the more he becomes something far more dangerous for himself and for the Empire. As their paths draw closer, the buried truths of the God will begin to surface. What begins as two personal vendettas threaten to unravel something far greater than either of them can control, because empires do not fall quietly, and the gods that shape them are not as dead as they seem. That sounds super fun, and I'm very, very intrigued. So on June 15th, we have Game of Life by Rob McWolf, and this is fantasy/magical realism. It says, I have something very important to give you. It contains a power beyond measure. I myself never found its limits. It opens the doors into more worlds than I managed to count, and limitless possibilities in all of them. Thousands have died to it. I am one of them. It is this story. You'll find it's fascinating, heartbreaking, even arousing. I certainly find it so. You'll also find it unlike any other story you've ever heard. I can't say the same there, and you'll see what I mean by that soon enough. Some few things can be known with certainty: that my name is Game Kenner, that I'm a cheater, that I'm a liar, that there is everything else in the universe, and then there is me. And that I will love John until the day I die, which I do know for certain because I was there when it happened. You may find this hard to understand already. That's fine. I find it no easier, and I'm sorry. I have no explanations to give, no metaphysics, no revelations, no whys. All I can give you is the story of my life. Another intriguing blurb. On the 16th of June, we have A Murder Most Fungal. This is the Hoffman Report by Aaron M. Gibson, and I believe it is in the same world as Mushroom Blues, but a standalone novella, I think, if not a short novel. In the aftermath of Fuyu Massacre, riots and whispers of revolution continue to plague the Hoppanense, capital of Neo-Kinoko. As a result, the iron grip of a foreign military occupation tightens day by day. Amidst this, Pocho Jiro, a once renowned Makazushi chef, has chosen to cook for Duncan MacArthur, a Coprian military governor in Hapon, as his personal chef and indentured servant. A run-in with dangerous fungal gangsters sets off a chain of events that Poncho cannot escape from. He's left with two choices: assassinate MacArthur or watch his beloved sister die in front of his eyes. Will Poncho take up his knife and prepare MacArthur's final meal? That's a good blurb too. We also had Squadgames number 1 by Jamie Edmondson on 16th of June, and this says Gale Azu, a new unexplored world, a fresh start, and a last chance. Lothar Stiff Sour is a mercenary captain. Unfortunately, he has no mercenaries left. He never caught a break in the old world. Maybe in Galazzo he'll finally achieve the success he craves. But he soon finds out things aren't going to be easy. Starting at the bottom rung, he can only recruit the mercenaries no one else wants: the feckless criminals and noobs, the unhinged. Can Lothar build his squad into something to be proud of, or will this be yet another and final failure? This is Lit RPG, if I didn't mention that before. On the 16th of June, we also had Rising Gales, A Song of the Damned, book number 2 by Z.B. Steele. My execution draws near. I can't give you too much more than that, as it is a book 2. On the 18th of June, we had Lured in the Crimson, a spellbinding enemies to lovers urban fantasy adventure by Mary Dublin and Anne Kensley. And I apologize if I butchered that. This is the third book and final book from the Shot in the Dark series, and it has a cover that looks like this. On the 19th of June, we have Gravebane by L. Cyrus Wachell, and this is a prequel to the Falman War Chronicles, and this was out, did I already say, on the 19th of June. It says, a quaint village of Havenfall is the home and training ground of Levora's vaunted hunter corps, nature's wardens of formidable skill. Today marks the annual Trial of Ascension, a ceremony in which aspiring young adults embark on their first solo hunts and earn their crests as full-fledged hunters. Kai Travaldi, a young man of the rivaled Northern tribe Foreman, noted for their cat-like ears and tails, is one of 5 potential hunters participating in the ceremony and eager to prove himself just as capable as his peers. However, danger lurks hidden among the trees, a danger much greater than any ridicule the young man has endured from a village hesitant to accept him as he is. When the hunters become the hunted, will Kai have the fortitude to overcome years of derision and save those who have historically turned their backs on him, or will he fall victim to a beast so deadly that even the hunter corps might fear its name? Interesting. On the 21st of June, we had Scrapped Hope. This is by Remy W, not M, Remy W. Anders, and this says, they call me a troublemaker, a jinx, a hazard who doesn't know her limits. Fine, let them talk. My name is Mita, and I'm the best derelict pilot on this trash heap island. Even if the company owns the air, I fly in and the minutes I breathe. My job is luring monsters from Corsic seas, but my dream is flying in the International Air Games. It is my one shot at buying freedom for my sister and our community. So yeah, I push my caster plane a little hard. I carve corners through deadly spies, and they won't even fly near. What else am I supposed to do? But today my ambition finally outpaced my skill. I tangled with a myth of the deep, a creature that wasn't on the radar, had caught a scream for me to run. Protocol demanded I retreat, but I saw a chance for a catch that would make me a legend. Now I'm grounded, permanently, and find a second lifetime of debt. My one shot at a better life is ash, and I've dragged everyone I love into the depths with me. So let them call me a troublemaker. They haven't seen nothing yet. That sounds like a bit of fun. On the 22nd of June, we have Grasping at Embers, and I believe this is YA, and this is book 1 of the series by Kayla Van Kirk. The Amigos project, dedicated to building the perfect family. It is this renowned project that has made Ferret Core the sole proprietor for genetically customized children. Reed Ember's sister is an Amigo's child, burdened with the knowledge that far surpasses her age. After being forced into hiding, Reed's job is to make sure that they are never found. But after a match gone wrong in an illegal fighting ring, Reed and his sister are thrown into a mystery they know nothing about. But Reed is determined to protect his little sister, even if it means sacrificing himself. Vanessa Loss has always questioned Mama's death. Dad tells Vanessa again and again her mother's death was an accident, nothing more. When Vanessa is approached by the infamous Clifton Farrack, her suspicions are finally confirmed. Mama was murdered, and as dangerous as this new discovery is, Vanessa can't bring herself to walk away before she knows why her mother had to die. Clifton was the first of the Amigos' children, and he is heir to a multi-billion-dollar empire, but the world doesn't know about the blood on his hands, or on the hands of his father. A dead man resurfaces into Clifton's life, and suddenly he's presented with an option he's never thought he'd have: stay safe and follow his father's will, or face the consequences of working against him. As Reed and Vanessa work to untangle the web of lies and deception surrounding their parents' involvement in the Amigos project, Clifton fights to earn their trust. Together, they must find the truth and keep the people they care about safe in a world controlled by the man who wants them dead. Jumping now to the 23rd of June, we have Balances by Bethany Law. When renegade demon slayer Akirion crashes to Earth in front of a human, he doesn't know what to expect. Getting taken home into the heart of a not-a-sorcerer tempest's life only boggles his preconceptions more. For the first time in his long life, Akirion has the freedom to do whatever he wants. He throws himself into political intrigue and petty concerns with equal abandon. Family is what you make of it, and Akirion wants as much as he can get. He just won't worry too much about that thing his new friend Tempest obviously isn't telling him. Interesting. Sorry. The blurb cut off faster than I was prepared for it to. We also have the Song of Broken Mirrors book. This is the Shadow Pulse book number 3, coming out on the 23rd of June, or has come out on the 23rd of June, by N.J. Guay. A battle has been won, but the war is far from over. Also, on the 23rd of June, we have The Rotten King. This is Death's Door Trilogy, book number 1 by T.J. Willow, and this one says, protected for almost 10 centuries by the magic within its walls and the strength of the Allurium line, the city of Helvia stands as a bastion of tradition, civility, and good wine. The return to its lord, more than a decade after his mysterious disappearance, should have been an auspicious sign, but now it seems that misfortune has shadowed his return, come to plague their ancient city. As the rains of lament lash the land in an unrelenting downpour, monstrous creatures and assassins now lurk in the dark corners of the city, stalking the streets at night. A series of gruesome murders and rumors of an army to the east have the citizens of Helvia on edge, and all eyes now turn to Lord Malon to guide them through these troubled times. Two unlikely allies stand at his side: Tyrael, a no-nonsense witch from the swamps of the Ire, and Lyrant, an errant sellsword with sword. I can speak. The errant sellsword. I did it again. Sword, with the curse of chaos seemingly never far behind. As rot begins to fester in the city and beyond its walls, will Helvia and its defenders be strong enough to prevail? That sounds pretty cool. Also, on the 23rd of June, we have Starfire's Heir. This is The Soul of Serentin, book number 1 by Megan Phillips. Destiny called her. He awoke her. Lexa Andreva has always believed she was nothing more than a farm girl, but when a stranger reveals she is a lost heir of a distant realm, Lexa discovers she alone stands between the kingdom and the deathly darkness pressing at its borders. Written into an unsettling prophecy carrying a responsibility she never sought, Lexa sets off for her homeland with Griff Narvin, the warrior sworn to protect her. As she grapples with her new role as a prophesied savior, the inscrutable soldier stirs something deep within. To keep the shadows at bay, Lexa must harness the powers of her birthright to protect the people and home that demanded her duty. With the fate of the kingdom and a fragile new love at stake, can she survive long enough to save them both? Looks like that one is romantasy for the romantasy fans out there. Also on the 23rd of June, we have Stolen Radiance. This is book 1, I believe, in the Everlight duology. This is by Britt Brindell. A cozy fantasy romance with stakes, yearning, banter, fairy tale charm, and no spice. He is the witty Fey Lord escorting her to marry someone else. Unfortunately, he's already fallen for her. She's the human princess with very little filter, choosing to pursue an arranged marriage. Some truths were never meant to be buried. Even the stars don't believe the story she tells herself. I was raised to marry a prince. Instead, I was taken by the Fae during the war. All the years of tutoring and preparing, and now I live in a cramped room without a window in my half-sister's castle. The Fae love to stare. Having human ears doesn't help me blend in, neither does the sword I carry and haphazardly wield. It won't matter for much longer. The Prince of Estlin has invited me to his kingdom to explore a marriage pact. I said yes. Now I'm being escorted by Finn, the Fey Lord Chancellor. Provoking me is his favourite pastime. The things he says could drive any woman mad, but two can play at that game. Another romantasy for those so inclined. On the 25th of June, we have Our Ways Unmasked by C.B. Lansdell. This is book 2 in the Apotheca duology, concluding the series. I can't give too much away, but I love this cover. I love C.B.'s artwork, and I just think it is beautiful. Very intriguing artwork on the front here. We also have The Forgotten Kingdom, The Return of Magic, book number 2, also on the 25th of June. This is claim the crown, claim the kingdom, and it is the second installment, so we'll have to leave that one there. On the 26th of June, we have On Gilded Waters. This is of Duet, Snow and Silver. Duet of Snow and Silver, book number 2 by Ava Smitty. And this one says, the shimmer of snowfall can hide all manner of black and rotting things. Interesting. On the 30th of June, we have The Scent of Sea and Ash. This is the Twin Flames trilogy, book number 1, written by Beth Ann Bautiste. I apologize if I butcher that pronunciation. It says, Chess is a foundling with a secret gift, a chosen family that she would go to the ends of the known lands for, and a mysterious talon-shaped birthmark around her right ear. When her brother is stolen by a giant raptor piloted by a golden-helmed rider, she and her sister leave all they know to find him and bring him home. Sometimes the unknown holds answers to questions that have stopped being asked, and those answers cost more than could ever be imagined. Also, on the 30th, We Swore Upon a Dying Sun. This is Bloodbound, book number 1 by Emery Arden. The gods just want to watch you suffer. Heir to the throne, Blaine is destined to banish the gloom and cure the gloom rot, but crippled by the weight of expectation, he has spent his life avoiding the very duties that might save his kingdom. His twin sister Rian has spent hers shouldering them. Bound by love and sympathy for her brother and a ceaseless devotion to their father, she effectively rules a dying realm for a doomed king. When the kingdom's enemies betray a fragile ceasefire and execute the king, Rian is shattered by grief, and her avoidant brother is forced to lead for the first time in his life. To secure the throne, the twins must complete a brutal pilgrimage to earn boons from the gods. Without all 6 blessings, Blaine stands no chance of ascending to the throne or driving back the gloom. If they fail, the gloom will consume the sun and twist their people into gloom fiends. But their enemies are in pursuit, and the gods care nothing for peace. The gods demand suffering, and the twins are about to pay the price. That sounds like a good read. That sounds like it would be right up my alley. Now, I did miss one back on the 17th of June, so I'm just going to quickly do that before we wrap up. That is The Queen's Curse by Taylor Ugranau. Apologies for the pronunciation if that was incorrect. This is the Soulfire duology, book number 1. Ari has only known a life of servitude in Nocturne. As a mortal, seen as weak by the powers in her kingdom, she has endured 16 long years of torment in the Soulfire mines. She, like most in Lumen, despises Eldarim, the elite members of society with the right to claim immortality from Althara, the highest power in the realm. Desperate to provide a better life for her mother, when the king calls for fighters, assassins, and hunters to search for his lost heir, Ari doesn't hesitate to join the quest. What she doesn't realize is that Lincoln Ashfield, the most skilled assassin in Nocturne, has joined it too. But Ari doesn't give up easily. She would rather die trying than stay stagnant, and she will stop at nothing to find the lost heir and earn the life she deserves. A lot of interesting sounding books that we had for June this year. Again, apologies that this list is a little bit late. I shall be back on track for August. I'll get the July list out hopefully by the end of this month, and then we should be good to go. What are you looking forward to picking up? Like I said, there's a few cool sounding books on here. Personally, I think the one that's caught my attention the most is We Swore Upon a Dying Sun by Emery Arden, close to the end there. What are you going to pick up? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like the content, give one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.